Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be drafting a shoulder line bustier, and the first thing I'm going to do right here is to take my vertical measurement. This top of the paper here is our starting point. I'm going to be taking all of my measurement down. I'll place my tape here, come down to mark my bust point, which is 10. I'll mark my under bust, which is 13, and then still leaving the tape there, I'm going to come down to mark the length of my blouse. My length of my blouse is 16. I'll add 1 inch for sewing allowance, and then I'll mark 17, and then I'll go ahead and root all the points across. Let's just go ahead and indicate on all the lines just so we don't get confused. This is my bust point, this is my under bust, and this is my waistline. So I'll come to the top of the paper to take my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. I'm going to mark 7.5 here. And then I'll come down to mark my armhole depth. How to mark your armhole depth: you divide your bust by 6, then add 1.5 inch to it. And then I'll connect the 2 points together. And then roll it across. So this is our chest line. The next thing I'm going to do right here is to take my neck measurement. I'm going to be using 3 by 3 for the front neck. I'll use 3 for the width and then 3 for the depth of the neck, and then connect the points together. Then I'll come here to mark my nipple to nipple measurement on all the lines. My nipple to nipple is 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, but on the bust line I'm going to mark 4 inches. But I'll mark 3.5 on the under bust and on the waistline. This is to give the blouse a defined shape. Alright. So after marking, I'll connect the points together. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is to come to this shoulder line. I'm going to divide whatever I have here into 2 equal halves and then mark, and then connect the points all the way to meet this line. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is to take my darts, and I'll be taking my dart on this side, not on the center front. Okay, so I'm going to mark 1.5 inch for my dart, but if you're of a bigger size, if your bust is of a bigger size, you can mark 2 inches or 2.5, but for me I'll mark 1.5 inch for my darts because I have a small my bust is small, so I'll just mark 1.5 inch. So I'll just connect the 2 points together with a straight line. Then I'm going to connect that line to the bust line with a curve, like so. So the next thing I'm going to do right here is to come to this shoulder line to take my dart here too. I'm going to mark 1 inch here, and then connect the point all the way to the bust line. Then I'll just blend it. And then the next thing I'm going to do right now is to replace the 1 inch I took for my dart on the shoulder line. I'll replace it here. I'll replace the 1 inch, and then I'll connect it down. So this is our new chest line. Okay, I'm going to cancel this out. We are no longer working with this first one. So this is now our new chest line. Okay, then I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'll come down by 1 inch here, and then I'll connect it all the way to the into the neckline. Then I'll divide whatever I have here into 2 equal halves and get the midpoint. Then on that point, I'm going to come out by half an inch. On that point, I'll come in by half an inch. And then on the chest line, I will divide my bust by 4, mark it here. Then I'll connect the points to meet the point on the chest line with my French curve. Now we now have our armhole curve, and then I'll just go ahead and impute all my body measurement. I'll divide my bust by 4, put it here, and then add 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'll mark the 1 inch here on the chest line as well for the sewing allowance, okay? And then blend the armhole line into that point. And then I'll come to the underbust, divide my underbust by 4. I'll mark it right here. Then the 1.5 inch I took for my dart, I'm going to replace it here. I'll replace the 1.5 inch I took for my dart and then add 1 inch for sewing allowance as well. I'll come to the waistline and do the same thing. My waist divided by 4, I'm going to mark it right here. And then the 1.5 inch I took for my dart, I'll replace it and then add 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then I'll connect all the points together with a straight with my rule. So we now have our front pattern. This is it, guys. This is it. I will go ahead and cancel the parts I'll be cutting out. So make sure you cancel the parts so you don't get confused when cutting, okay? The part you don't need, cancel it out so you know where you are cutting. And then I'll go ahead and cut out the front pattern. Please pay attention to how I'm cutting it out. So this is it, guys. This is the front pattern. I'll just keep this one aside so we can drop the back. For the back pattern, I will mark 1.5 inch for my zipper allowance, okay? I'll mark 1.5 inch for my zipper. I'll connect the points. So this space is for my zipper allowance. I'll just indicate on it. This is my zip allowance. Now I'll go ahead and take my vertical measurement. I'll mark my bust point, which is 10. I'll mark the length of my blouse, which is 17, okay? We don't need under bust for this. I'll just go ahead and rule the point across. Then I'll mark my shoulder, which is 7.5. Then I'll come down from that point to mark my armhole depth. And then I'll connect the 2 points together. And then rule it across. Then I'll go ahead and mark my neck. I will use 3 for the width and then use 1.5 for the depth. And then I'll connect the 2 points with my French curve. Then I'll come down by 1 inch on the shoulder line for my shoulder slope and then connect it into the neckline. Then to get my armhole curve, I'll divide this into 2 equal halves. and mark the midpoint, and then on the chest line I'll divide my bust by 4, mark it here, and then connect the 2 points with my French curve. So I'll just go ahead and impute my body measurement. My bust divided by 4, I'll mark it here, add 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'm going to add the 1 inch for the sewing allowance on the chest line as well. Then I'll come to the waistline. I'll do the same thing, my waist divided by 4. Then I'll add 1 inch for that. I'm going to add 1 inch for that, and then 1 inch again for sewing allowance. Then I'll connect the points together. So I'll just blend this line here. Then I'll come to the waistline. Remember, we added 1 inch for our dart on the waistline. I will divide my nipple to nipple by 2 and mark it here, which is 3.5. I'll mark it here, and then I'll mark it on the bust line as well, and then I'll connect the points together. Then I'll come up by 1 inch. I'll extend the line by 1 inch up, and then I'll connect it. Then the 1 inch we left for our darts, I'll mark half an inch on both sides of this line, and then I'll connect it this way. Now we have our darts. We now have our darts. So this is all for the back. So simple, right? And now I'll go ahead and cut the back out. So guys, this is it. It is so simple, very simple. This is the back, and then this is the front. Make sure when you are cutting on your fabric is on fold. All right, make sure your fabric is on fold when cutting. So guys, this is it. We've come to the end of our tutorial. Thank you for watching. Please do well to subscribe before you leave if you have not done that. Bye.